Hi, it's Matt Bisogno here again, and in this short video I'd like to introduce a few new features that we've added to Geegeez Gold today. They all live in or around the race cards, and the first of them is on the Instant Expert tab. So if we go to, let's try this handicap at Epsom, and to the Instant Expert tab, everything looks largely as it was, with two exceptions. The first one, you might notice this column between the odds and the Instant Expert grid historically said SR for speed rating. There's now an option on your My Geegeez page, let me just quickly show you this, where you can select which rating from SR, RPR, TS or none you would like to display on the Instant Expert. So that's the first minor upgrade to Instant Expert. You can choose your rating. The second one, slightly more life affirming, is inline form. Now historically it's been a bit of a frustration when you've had to flip from the Instant Expert tab to the full form tab to establish information that you want to know about the constituent breakdown of a horse's form, particularly in the context of today's race. Well, not anymore. Now it's a simple matter of clicking on any block of 3. So for example, the course block here for Not So Sleepy consists of runs, places and place percent, because I've got place selected here. Now if I click on this block, you see that the colour of the block goes yellow to highlight it, and I have the two relevant form lines displayed right in the page. So in this case we're looking at the course form, and as you can see both of these runs are at Epsom. If I wanted to look at Not So Sleepy's distance form, if I click on anywhere in the distance block, I get the 4 distance runs, and you can see they're all 12 furlongs. Today's race is 12 furlongs. Excuse me. Likewise for any of the others. Now if there's more form than 5 runs, as in the case of Manjarm over the distance, he's got 7 runs there. I'll just click on that one, and you can see that the page, to keep it neat and tidy, or somewhat neat and tidy, it displays only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and then you can scroll down to see the other, the more historical data at the bottom. So there could be any number of runs. If I put it on all here, then we can see that, and change this to a mile, we can see that some of them, there's 33 runs for firefighting here, and they're all there. So we can wade through any amount of information relating to any horse we want, right within the Instant Expert tab now. So for me personally, I think that's a huge time saver, facilitator. That's a really helpful addition that I'm excited to use myself, and I hope that you will enjoy it as well. The other elements within the cards on the pace tab, now way back in the distant past we did have actually a pace percent column, and we've reinstated that because I think it's quite useful. It's all very well looking at the graphic and seeing how the pace shape is likely to play out, or even looking at the numerical version of the same. But it's quite helpful to see the percentage diffusion between the field. In this race there's quite an even spread of pace, but sometimes perhaps as an example we could use the opening sprint handicap. You can see that there's sort of three speed horses in that race, with a little some way clear of the other runners, and oftentimes you get a more contrasting split of paste percentage than that. Anyway, it's a little thing, but it's quite useful, I think, and again, certainly something that I'll be using myself. The third, this one's another small upgrade we've included, is something which I'm calling IV3. Now IV3 appears in the constituent draw table over here, and what it is, it's the average of the impact value of the stall in question. So let me just put my drawing tool on here, see if I can do this, see if this will work. So for example, this is the IV for stall 2. The IV3 for stall 2 is calculated by taking the IV, oops, that's not right, let me delete that. Erase, right, okay. So the IV3 for stall 2, which is this 0.73 number, is calculated by adding the IV of stall 2, the impact value of stall 2, and its nearest neighbours, in this case stalls 1 and 3. So 1.1 plus 1.1 plus 0 equals 2.2. Divide that by 3 and you get 0.7333. So hence 0.73. Of course, with the lowest stall, it doesn't have a 0 stall. So what we do here is we take the IV of stalls 1 and 2, which is 0 plus 1.1 equals 1.1, and divide that by 2 and we get 0.55. And likewise with the highest stall, although in this case they're all zeros, we do the same with the top 2 stalls there as well. How is this useful? Well, if we look at the grid now, let me just switch this pencil thing off if I can. That's not how I do it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. If we look at the chart at the bottom here for the win percent by stall, you can see it's a bit of a. It doesn't really tell us anything really, but if we put it on IV, it says it's essentially the same shape. But IV3 smooths out the curves and shows us a slightly more meaningful isolation of any possible draw biases. Now in this bad example there actually aren't any. So if I go to the draw analyzer tool, we've introduced that on that tool as well. So, and let's go to I don't know, let's say Kempton 5 furlong handicaps. I use actual draw, which takes out which accounts for non-runners. We'll say 9 plus runners, and we can see here's our IV chart, and here's the actual there is actually quite a strong correlation anyway over this track and distance, as you can see. But if we put IV3, it just smooths out that curve, and it makes it very clear just how linear the relationship is between stall, your draw, and your chance of winning, the impact value of that draw position. We're going from 1.5 for stall 1 or thereabouts all the way down to it's just off the picture here actually, but it's basically 0.14. Very very low chance IV3 for the outside stalls, and it's a really useful way of getting rid of the spiky outliers on these draw charts. So again, it's something, it's there. If you want to use it, then do. If you don't, then don't. For me personally, I'll generally be sorting the draw chart by IV3 because I like the way it smooths the picture, the way it tells the true story and kind of eliminates a lot of the noise from the image. So that's another thing. It's on the draw analyzer. It's also on the race cards. I probably should have shown you this 6 furlong handicap at Dundalk. Really, that would have been a more sensible one to use. And here we can see the IV looks like this, but the IV3 is a much smoother, more obvious natural curve, and what it basically tells us is that those drawn just a couple off the rail are probably most favoured. Sometimes the inside stalls get a little bit hampered because for whatever reason, maybe lacking early speed or whatever, but this just evidences that in a very clean visual way. So that's IV3. Now what else have we got? Yes, we finally introduced the notes and ratings functionality. So how does this work? Well, let's go to a result. We'll go to a result from yesterday, and I'll actually pull up an example that I already used as a test example. If you just go into a result, if you're a ratings kind of guy, your result will look like this. As you can see, we've slightly changed the look and feel of it. I think it's a bit cleaner and smarter again. If you click on the show ratings button top right here, let me just make sure you can see that over here. You'll see something that looks a bit like this. And there are two elements that I want to share with you here. The first is notes. The first element is notes, and you can add a note at the meeting level, at the race level, and at the runner or horse level. So in this case, I've not put anything meaningful there, but I put this is a meeting note, this is a race note, and this is a horse note. So you can put those in, and then to calculate the ratings for the beaten horses, you need two things. You need your pounds per length that you're going to use, and you need a rating of the winner in the race. Now in this example, I'm just going to change this so you can see how it works. I'll give the winner a rating of 100, and I'll make the pounds per length calculation 1, just so it's nice and easy. Now if I press calculate now, you'll see that the second horse has been given a rating of 66, and that's arrived at by a beaten distance of 27 lengths. See this number here. So 100 take away 27 is 73, and then there's a weight differential between the winner and the second of £7, which is in actual fact is his jockey's claim. So 73, which was 100 take away 27 is 73, take away the £7 weight differential is 66, and again take away 16 more beaten lengths for the third. 66 take away 16 is 50, and so on. The fourth horse was pulled up here, so it gets a 0. But essentially all you need is the pounds per length that you're going to use, which could be based on a whole number of things, and your rating for the winner, which again is unique to you. Most people won't use the ratings, but if you do use them, that's how it works. Now, to set up your pounds per length, on your My Geegeez page, you'll see another new box, which is My Notes and Ratings. And on there, you've got an option to download CSV, which will download a copy of all your notes and ratings. And this button, My Ratings Settings. So if I click on that, it brings me to a page where these are the default settings. So what we've got is we've got each grey and white row or line is a block of ratings settings, and what I've done is I've broken it down into turf, flat, fast and slow. Essentially fast is anything from good to soft or quicker, and slow is anything from good to yielding to heavy. And I've excuse me, I've put in these pounds per length numbers for each distance. So 5 furlongs it's £3 per length, 6 furlongs 2.7, 10 furlongs a mile and a quarter it's £2 per length, and so on. And these are automatically applied in your result. So as an example, if we take another result from yesterday, let's go to the, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Let's go to, no, that race is too painful for me. for reasons I won't elaborate on here. If we go to this race here, we can see this is a 5 furlong race at Yarmouth. Now, if we put the ratings on, you can see it's automatically put in this £3 per length. There's 5 furlongs on good to firm, so we've got good to firm is in our flat turf fast section, between hard and good to soft, and 5 furlongs is £3 per length. Now, if it was heavy ground there, it would be the flat turf slow, and the pounds per furlongs would be 3.6. And if you don't actually trust the going description, let's say it was good to soft officially, but you thought it was soft, you could add a meeting note or a race note to that effect, and you could change the going calculation, the pounds per length calculation, just like that. And then you put in your rating for the winner, press calculate, and everything else is done for you. Our ratings functionality allows you to store up to 2 different ratings, so you might have a form rating or a speed rating. For most people, you won't have any. For a few people, you'll have 1, and for a very small handful of people, you'll have 2, potentially more. We'll accommodate 2 for you. So the only remaining question is where does this data actually? How can we get back to this data? Well, you can download it from a CSV, as I showed you on your My Geegeez page, from the download CSV under My Notes and Ratings, or more typically, you'd look at it either in the card inline, in that row there, or in the full form. Now, if I just go to Carter McKay here, and we look at this last line, you can see there's an R1 rating over here of 100. This is the rating that I gave to this horse. You can further see, if you hover over the date, you can see My Notes. This is a meeting note. And if you hover over the race conditions, you can see My Notes. This is a race note. Now, obviously, you'd write something a bit more meaningful than that, but you get the idea. And finally, if you hover over the race outcome, you can see you've got the in-running comment at the top, and then underneath you've got My Notes and whatever note you made about the horse. So you can go down and you can look at any notes or comments you had. Excuse me. And of course, if you filter the data, you'll still be able to pick up your notes related to their wins, for example, or places, or whatever it is. Over time, you'll build up a body of ratings and a body of notes and comments, and you'll be able to easily access them either in the form or by downloading them to a CSV. I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. There's nothing in this CSV because I just put this on live today, just a few lines on it. Oops. But you can see, hopefully, here, if I just, you can see you've got the date, the venue, the distance, the going in class, the horse position, and the horse name, which is all pre-populated, of course. And then you've got your horse notes and your ratings here. So you could sort by your ratings to see who your top rated horses were, as an example. And that's it, really. This is the first stage of the notes and ratings functionality. We will be incrementing this in future, and we very much work. If you're a ratings kind of guy or girl, we really do very much welcome your feedback. I have to say personally that I'm not an expert on ratings, and we've kind of replicated functionality from other places. Normally, I like to be an innovator with Geegeez Gold. I like to set the trend, if you like, rather than follow behind. But I don't mind admitting that we are a little bit behind the curve with the ratings content. So again, if you are a ratings user and you start putting your ratings in to the Geegeez Gold ratings functionality, I'd very, very much welcome your feedback and suggestions on how we can enhance and improve what we have already, to make it even better, and certainly to make it more of utility to you. That is about the size of it for this video. I hope you like the paste percent, the IV3, and particularly the Instant Expert inline features and the notes and ratings, user notes and ratings that we've added today. Again, if you've got any comments or questions or any suggestions of what we might add in the future, please do drop us a line. We can't introduce everything for obvious reasons, but most of what we put up as enhancements to Geegeez Gold these days are as a result of user suggestions. So please do get in touch, and thank you very much for watching. This is Matt Bisonia saying bye for now.